Oh, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about SwiftCoin today. SwiftC, baby. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. So, I was unable to make videos yesterday. A lot of moving, guys. It was a hell of a time, but we're here. Moved up 23% yesterday. SwiftCoin did go to the areas that we were expecting and even below them, right? The minimum move, the expectation was to about 2.7 cents and below there, right? I think last we talked, it had already made that move. We were expecting something to go lower. I don't think I was calling for a move as low as 2 cents. Maybe I was saying it could go as low as 2, but I was probably leaning more, I think, toward, if I remember correctly, 2.2 to 2.6, if I remember correctly. Let me just see. High or low to high here. I probably would have been leaning at the lowest 2.2. So it went a little bit lower. You went to your 786, 886 zone, but that's perfect. That's great. Deep retracements are good. You want deep retracements. You shake out the weak hands, you load up the strong hands, and you go to the moon, baby, right? That's what happens. It's good. You know what this is called, too? At the base of your move, that is a bullish engulfing candle. By all definitions, that's a bullish engulfing candle. Very powerful reversal signal. In fact, you did that over here. You had a bullish engulfing candle, and that was the base of this move. You didn't move up immediately, but you did move up. You stopped moving down at least, right? Here you even had a bullish engulfing candle right here at this low, but you didn't, you actually did move lower the next day, to be completely fair. It's not a perfect thing, but it is a rather good signal. I think it is a rather good signal. Looking at the RSI on the daily, you are bouncing right off the 50. Man, if you get this, I think with that, I think you really are going to close. Let's look and see the 4 hour. Do you look like you're going to move higher? It looks like it to me. Looks like you want to move higher to me. It's not conclusive enough. It looks like you want to move up, man. I'm just saying, my personal way of looking at this, right? You look at the 50. You don't have to understand too much about the RSI. You could know nothing at all, and let me just make it in a very simple way for anybody to understand right now, okay? And this is not something that you should take as just fact that will always be true, but essentially, this is a good way of kind of generalizing the RSI, okay? You're above the 50, good. You're below the 50, bad. Every time you get below the 50, I don't know about you guys, but it seems to be very short-lived compared to the times that you spend above the 50, which means you're in a positive trend. The fact that you got below the 50, you're repulsed by the oversold zone. You love the overbought zone, and as soon as you get oversold, you're back above the 50. This all indicates to me the right things, that you're on the right path. You're going to be moving higher soon. Coming in line with a low here at an area you would expect to find a low, albeit it's a rather deeper area. It's a little bit lower than what I probably personally called for, but the 786 to 886 is perfect. That's perfect. By the way, also, while I'm handing things out on a basic level of teaching, from a low to a high of any fib range, when you tear through your golden ratio like that, and you come to your 786, 886 area, oftentimes it's not on the second attempt, right? This is your first attempt and then your second attempt. Normally, what I'm describing here would just happen on your first attempt overall, but we did have a little support over here. But either way, 786 to 886, if you find support, a move up to the 382 is very common. Very, very common. Sometimes even all the way up to the 236. Now, what I want to say is that doesn't mean that you are guaranteed to go higher. That doesn't mean you're guaranteed for this to be a low. What you need to do is after you find resistance on this area or resistance on this area, what you need to do is not go back below the golden ratio. You actually tipped it for support. You've already tipped it for support, which is just good signs all around. What you need to do now is continue. We need to get above the 382. You need to get above 3.22. Let's just say 3.23 cents. 3.23 cents. You get above that. That validates this as a low. It also validates that you are progressing higher out of this fib, and inevitably you would see higher prices than this. Okay, so you get above 3.23 cents. You're at 2.83 cents now. 3.23 cents. Break above there on a 4 hour period. Get above there. Really, probably even just any price at all. Moving the price above that at all would likely suggest you're moving higher. And I think you will. I really do think you will. Again, looking at the 4 hour RSI with the basic understanding I gave you, just looking at it here, it seems as though we're getting started. And this is where I got distracted because, again, we don't have enough. I don't think we have enough right now to determine if we're going to start doing stuff like we did before. But looking at it as a whole, we've got a kind of idea, a generality to expect. You look at the 1 hour time frame. Okay, perfect. This definitely is suggestive that you are beginning good things because if you notice, you had a rather long downtrend. This is just the 1 hour, so I say long. It was, the 31st of January to the 7th. But for the 1 hour, man, that's a pretty long time for the 1 hour time frame. You just broke out of that. You got overbought, and you back tested the 50 for support. Very bullish signal. Everything about this tells me exactly what I've been saying this whole video so far, is that you are moving up right now. That was your low. There's no doubt in my mind about that at all. From a high or a low to a high here, pull back to the 50. Have you guys noticed, have I told you over the past couple weeks, I probably have, that a lot of things are finding support on their 50? If you've been trading this on the notion or on the mention that I've made over the past couple weeks, man, you've been killing it, because the 0.5, we noticed this. We noticed this 2 weeks ago. I noticed it probably a week before that even, but I didn't say anything, because just because you notice something happen a couple times doesn't mean it's worth bringing up. But man, it's been happening all over the place, and since we've identified it both as support and resistance, things are just finding their 0.5s. I wouldn't even be surprised. Let's see here. Watch this. Let's just see. In reference to that, let's just see here. From a high here to a low right there. Wouldn't you know it, you found some resistance right at the 50. And was it specifically right at it? No. But if you sold the 50 and you bought the 50, you literally would have killed this last range right here. Also, by the way, I like this consolidation phase. I like that a lot. Anytime you get above the 382 and you don't pull back to the 236, I think that's very powerful. Everything that I'm seeing is agreeing with what I've said from the beginning, man. It looks like you're beginning your next move up. That looks like your low. I don't think you'll get a chance to buy lower than that. You might get a chance. You're at 2.8 cents now. You might get a chance to buy at 2.7 cents. I don't think you would go too much lower than that. Here's what I don't think you're going to do. I don't think you will go below 2.56 cents. So sure, you could go back below 2.6, even 2.6, but I don't think you go too much lower. You got 10 minutes left in this 4-hour candle. It looks like it wants to reverse. I'm not buying it, man. You want to move up. You absolutely want to move up. Let me see just by the fibs too what we have here. By the fibs, you could move down to 2.47 cents. I suppose that's fine. I suppose that's fine if you were to do that. Yeah, we could say 2.47 is fine if you were to move down that low. And even if you move lower, it's not the end of the world, right? But I certainly do expect that while you could move lower from here in the more immediate kind of sense, I think that over the days, because everything that suggests that you could move lower in the immediate sense, that's just the hourly or the 4-hourly, which, by the way, they look good too. They look like you're really just beginning a new uptrend, but moving down a little volatility is nothing a big deal. But the daily time frames, the weekly time frames, they look like they're ready for the next move up. So any kind of move down from a price perspective and from a time perspective, it's insignificant to what's coming. We have higher prices to look forward to. So let's stop alluding to that and let's actually go over what these prices are going to look like, okay? I think looking at where we've been might be the best way to determine where we go. It might not be, but we're going to try, okay? We're going to see. From a high here to a low there, you can see, right? Measure from that high to that low. We had our next move up. It went all the way to the golden ratio. The area that we found resistance at, it was right below there. You call that front running, right? There's a little bit of selling, and that was some intense selling. So I bet I'm not the only person, right? I'm not. I don't think I'm a dummy, but I'm not super sophisticated, right? There are more sophisticated minds, people who have been doing this longer than I've been alive, who are well aware of the golden ratio, right? I'm assuming this was a very obvious sell point for people and for trading bots, trading algorithms, market makers use, whatever. You found resistance there. Make no mistake, we found support at that same area just now this week already. As this brought bad tidings, I assume the opposite here will bring good tidings. But 1618, look at that. This is cool. This is cool, man. You sold just below your 1618. You bought just above your golden ratio, your 618. You sold just below your 2272. You tipped your golden ratio. It seems as though this fib is being very well respected. And the market makers, the people who are in charge of this, whatever, whoever's trading it, the speculators, they seem to be aware of this range as well. And if this range goes higher to the places that I think it'll go to, your next target technically is the 2618, but I don't think you stop there. I think you would likely stop in this area or as high as this area, okay? That would put you between anything from 11.3 cents to 15 cents to potentially as high as 30 to 37 cents. I feel like I'm talking about XCN again, man. Now, how high you go, I don't know. The thing is, SwiftCoin is such a low cap coin that, yes, while it has already seen a week where it grew 288% and it had a week here where it basically did the same thing on an overall wick, you might not have seen the biggest move yet. You might not have, genuinely. I know that might sound crazy, right? You most of the time, logically speaking, as moves continue, you would expect them to get smaller, right, from a low to a high. This thing's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. It took you weeks on a weekly basis here. It took you 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks to do this, 586%, which great. 4 weeks for 586%. I don't think anybody's complaining about, but you did complain, and SwiftCoin heard you. I'm sorry, SwiftCoin heard you, and it said, "Oh, that's not enough. Okay, I'll do more in less time." It took me 1, 2, 3 weeks to get to 726%. It's getting more robust. It's not that absolutely means that we have to grow more. That's not what that means. But it could suggest such a thing, right? And to move up to this area that I would think you go, I don't think you stop at the 2618. All that to say, right? I don't personally think you do. You could. It's at 7.8 cents, but I don't think that's where you stop SwiftCoin. You might find turbulence there, but you're not going to stop there, right? Over the weeks to come, by the end of this month, you'll be worth at least 11.2 cents, if not more. That'd be 452% to 635. That's basically right within this range, right? There's nothing wrong with that. 11.3 to 15.3 cents from the low there. It's not from the current price, right? That current price growth would be 311 to 427. But from the low, which is where we're measuring from here, or at least the relative lows, to me, that's enough. There's nothing wrong with that. That makes a lot of sense. This is a very sensible area. But if you're looking for that cherry on top, you're looking for that little bit extra, and you think it could come, I think it's more than acceptable. As crazy as it sounds, man, it is more than acceptable to see or even expect a 30 to basically 40 cent price. And this is Moon Boy stuff. I know it sounds crazy because now we're talking about things, and I do expect this to happen by the end of February, if not the very beginning, middle of March. We're talking about a 15 to a 19x, man. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to offer perspective because I know a lot of you have invested or are aware of XCN as well, right? You're invested in SwiftCoin, you like SwiftCoin, whatever, but I'm sure a lot of you have seen the journey and witnessed the journey of XCN. Man, it's at number 79. I remember when this thing was in like number 500. It's crazy. Okay, now we're going to look at the market cap of XCN real quick, okay? We're going to go over the last month where it had its phenomenal growth. There we go. Put it in logs so it's easier to look at, whatever. It started down here at about $76 million. XCN on a weekly basis, right? 76 million, right? I mean, all the way down here. When was that, by the way? XCN, where we're right here. That was January. Okay, January, beginning of January. Yeah, 70. We at the low we saw 75 million January. Okay, so that was over here. That was over here. 75 million at this area. 2 weeks later, we saw a 21x. In 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks. SwiftCoin, its growth has been very strong. Very, very strong, but it's a lot less. It's I should say it's more constructive. You're more constructive than what we saw with XCN, and we still saw an explosive, very impressive move from what was 75 million, essentially, okay? Now, and I know all the Swifties out there, you already know, man. We're taking back the name Swifties, okay? Swiftie is a different meaning, okay? It's a better meaning, the way that we mean it, okay? Market cap, we go to the last month, okay? First and foremost, you're not at 75 million now. You're at 282 million, okay? But again, a more constructive base that you formed from something that's alluding to more prices to come. I'm not saying that you have to see 30 to 37 cents, but we're just trying to make sense out of it here. You're at a dramatically lower market cap than what XCN has now. 282 million. To get to a 15x from here, that would basically put you at what, like $3 billion, $4 billion in market cap? No, it would closer to 5 billion probably. 15 to 20x. 5 to 6 billion, 4 to 6 billion, somewhere in that range. It's a very attainable market cap to have. And if you were to continue to grow from here, if you were to break above $1 billion, $1 billion is a nice psychological level. From here at 282 million, it's essentially only like a 3.2x away. 3.2x for SwiftCoin, by the way, 3.2x from here. I think I'm doing my math right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that would put you just above your 2618, which again, I think if you go to your 2618, you break above that, you likely would at least see 12 to 15 cents. Okay. And from a market cap perspective, from a psychological resistance perspective, if you're breaking above that very significant level of $1 billion, you likely will. You won't just go to $1 billion and one or $1 billion and two. You'll probably go to 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, 5. You might even reach for 10. Okay, and seeing something all the way up here, that'd be a 10x to a. From your current price, it would be a 10x. Okay, I did the math wrong. 10x to a 13x. A 10x to a 13x. That's more than doable, man. From this kind of market cap, that puts you at around a $3 to a $5 billion market cap, and that's totally fine. If you're going to break above $1 billion, you likely go to 2 to 5 billion, right? When Bitcoin broke above $10,000, it basically went to $20,000, right? It's very first time that it did that. It went basically to $20,000, okay? It didn't stop at 11,000 or 12,000. It went basically to 20,000. If you break above $1 billion here, you might at least go to 2 billion. But if you were to at least go to 2 billion, you'd be just shy of this number here, I think. So likely, all I'm trying to say, if anything, by this last part here, it's made me think less so that 30 to 40 cents is where you're going to go. And that was the whole point. I was trying to see how likely this was. And I came into it very optimistic that we'd find more evidence, conclusive evidence, that you would see this. It's made me think less so that you could see this. And I very much do like the idea that you could stop instead at this area here. But I think it's more than acceptable to consider 30 to 37, 38 cents as a possibility still. So I don't really know if I have anything else that I want to say. SwiftCoin at 2.8 cents. If you like it now, you're going to love it even more whenever it's at prices well above 10 cents, probably 11.2 cents or higher. If you want to catch that next train, if you want to get in on SwiftCoin, I think now's a perfect time to get in. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do not mistake my words for saying it's the most ideal time to get in. No, the most ideal time was all the way back here. This was the most ideal time to get in. Is this ideal? No. But because we exist in this moment right here, where today is the only thing that we have control of and not any of this, it's already set in stone, assuming that we do see a price that takes you above 11 cents and likely even upwards, I shouldn't even say likely, but has a chance to see prices above 30 cents, yeah, it's a good time to buy. If you want to catch that next move, I think it's a great time to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but SwiftCoin, we all know, is deserving of a top 200, top 100 spot, maybe even more than that. And I think you can see it in the charts here, man. I don't know. I've got nothing else to say for you guys. Daily RSI looks killer. I like the bounce off the 50. I think that's great, phenomenal. Weekly RSI, also killer. In the overbought zone, some people might look at that as a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it could suggest that over the next day and 20 hours, we could go lower. And if we do, we're at 2.8 cents now. And I meant it. I think it's a great time. I would have no problem buying here. But we could go back to 2.6 cents. We could close this week at 2.54 cents, 2.7, whatever. I think closing the week a little lower would actually be good. Get this to be at the overbought zone, bounce right off of it the next week. I do suspect that next week, going into the end of this month as well, we will begin moving upwards, moving higher. I suspect by the end of this month, SwiftCoin likely is above 8 cents, if not at least above 11 cents. We'll see. But that's all I got for you guys. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you very much. Take it easy. Bye-bye.